We're stepping back into the horror genre this week, or are we? The movie this week is not quite what it seems. A little bit like this podcast. I believe we'd initially stated we were professional. we were going to discuss interesting topics about films.
It also has the word thrill in the title.
Boom. No thrills to be had.
105 episodes in? Yep, definitely not a thrill. And quite frankly, we have been fucking lying from day one. This week's episode is The Cabin in the Woods from 2012. But before we jump into that, we're going to go through a little bit of a rundown on what we've been watching, but we'll also have a little bit of chat about some recent news about the Star Wars franchise. Gibbo, kick us off, mate.
Not too much on my slate. Caught a couple of movies. There was a sequel I've been waiting for a while. End up being massively disappointing, which is always good. But the second Mechanic movie, Resurrection, where they came up with that idea.
Jesus Christ, I thought you were talking about a decent film.
No, I actually really enjoyed the first Mechanic. It actually wasn't bad. It had Ben Foster. Statham and Ben Foster. But I love Ben Foster.
Yeah, I like Ben Foster too.
But it was a lot more serious and accurate and good. And this one was just, it just goes real, like, not popcorny, but just gets real lazy. And Jessica Alba's in it, and she's never been able to act, ever. And now that she's old and less attractive, it finds hard reasons to have her on screen. She's a really bad actress.
Seriously, I didn't even know this movie existed.
Yeah, it was in cinemas and stuff.
Serious?
It got a cinematic run and everything. Like,
did it?
Yeah, but not for long, I can't imagine. But I was really disappointed because I've been waiting for this for a while, and all the press stuff. No, I have. Legitimately, because I really liked the first one. I was actually waiting for this one.
And look, Statham still has pull.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm just surprised I didn't know anything about it, considering I don't mind a bit of Statham.
Statham can still be good, mate, but this script is terrible, and it's just the whole movie's just lazy. It's just a money grab. It's got more of like a Crank 3 feel than like what the original Mechanic was really like a proper movie. Yeah. And this one is not. So that was a bit disappointing. I watched War Dogs, which is the
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill and Miles Teller one. Pretty much exactly what you think it'd be. It's not good or bad. It's like worth a look, I guess. Jonah Hill's massively round in it. He lost a bunch of weight and then he's put it back on, I think, 10 times.
But he's now lost it again.
Has he lost it again?
Yeah. And we're talking slim down to Jared sort of proportion.
That can't be good for you. Because
I'm not down to Jared.
Like he lost a lot when he was doing the 21 Jump Street stuff.
You're climbing.
I'm getting back up there.
He got fairly lean, and in this, mate, he must be pushing 130-ish. Like, and he's not a big guy, but anyway, he was fine, and it's just there's a lot of twists and turns that sort of don't really make much sense. And I hate Miles Teller as a person, so that made it a bit hard to watch. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. It's
on Netflix, isn't it?
It's there, yeah.
Skip it.
Oh, you wouldn't if you're really, really bored and you just want to have something on the background, probably fine, but yeah, don't get too. You know who else is slumming it in that too is Silver Lining Playbook. What's his name?
Bradley
Cooper. Yeah, he's in it like a really small part, but just like a classic slumming it part. He's wearing like Coke bottle glasses and trying to ugly himself up and be this like I don't know, international like arms dealer sort of terrorist guy, and it's a weird turn for him. So yeah, don't look at that. I watched the second season of F is for Family on Netflix, the Bill Burr animated, slightly more adult like Family Guy ripoff. Pretty much, it's like halfway between Family Guy and King of the Hill, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Second season was better than the first one.
Right.
It's like consistently pretty funny now. The first one had its moments, but the second season is actually pretty good. And then just inexplicably did a rewatch of Starsky and Hutch.
I love that.
I was just flicking through with the little bloke, and he said, "What's that one? Dad's got a cool car." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, have a look at this." And I just got sucked right back into it.
Nothing beats the sequence in the showers where the real towels are over there.
That's the hand towels. Real towels are on the top shelf. It's still good.
Yeah, it's still funny. Yeah, I remember that.
It's the peak Stiller and Owen Wilson.
And it was the only way to go. The spoof. Very much like 21 Jump Street. You kind of push yourself into a corner that those things were so corny back then.
Yeah.
That the only way to do it was to go comedy.
Yeah.
And both of them worked out brilliantly doing it that way.
Yep. Anyways, that was pretty much it for me, though. Not much else to report.
Jared?
Right. So Start of the week on an interesting note. For some reason, I stumbled across something that advised me that Troma put some of their films on YouTube for free.
Oh no!
So I started the week with Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
What is wrong with you?
But just for me personally, how was it? And did you say it was on YouTube for free?
YouTube for free.
How does that get made?
Look,
They were pouring out Toxic Avenger. I want to see Toxic Avenger.
Yeah. Well, I started watching part 3. I couldn't finish it, but anyway.
You made a shit of a week.
I started out on it. Absolute. I couldn't have dug any lower if I tried.
Sergeant Kabuki Man.
NYPD.
Can anything be more offensive than that?
Yeah, well, Troma's not known for their good taste,
not
so
known for taste.
I must say, like, the movies are so cheap. You can see the lack of money, and but occasionally they just hit on like a funny idea or something like that. I couldn't say go out and watch it.
I'll be honest, you haven't sold me.
No, you haven't told me. No, I didn't need selling. I was already on it.
So I did
saw
catch that.
Kabuki Man back in the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
Along with Igor and the Lunatics and those stupid ones from Troma that were all coming out.
There's some random ones on there. I saw the latest DC animated one, which was Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, which was pretty good. It's a pretty good story, the Judas Contract. It was one of their old stories, but it's kind of one of their better ones, and it's got Deathstroke as the villain, and they had, I believe it might have been his last role, but Miguel Ferrer did Deathstroke, and he was spot on, like really good. So it's disappointing that he won't be able to revisit that role, unfortunately. Okay, I said I couldn't have dug any deeper than Sergeant Kabuki Man, but I may have.
Here we go.
Kevin Smith's latest, Yoga Hoses, showed up on Stan.
Lord.
That's the one where Kevin Smith plays tiny Nazi bratwurst sausages. It's really strange.
Did you check out Sandy Wexler as well, mate?
No, I didn't. I left that one alone. I don't know.
Oh, what are you doing?
I don't know. But you can watch.
I don't have scared. I would probably watch that shit too.
You get to watch Johnny Depp slumming it for half the movie. Is that
a
French
good thing
detective
now?
guy?
Johnny has got financial problems.
I know.
He will take anything.
But Kevin Smith's not
$2 million
paying
a
much.
month, apparently. $2 million a month.
What are you doing? How do you even
That's a lot of
work out?
scarves.
How do you spend $2 million a month?
Scarves.
Oh, for God's
He loves his
sake.
scarves.
I cannot fathom how you can spend
Guy
that much
Lapointe
money.
wears a scarf, I believe. Look, I'm in a funny place with Kevin Smith because I love the bloke. I've had this turnaround where I really enjoy listening to him.
Like
he
his pods and
strikes me as a really good guy, but I don't know what he's doing. Like his buddy Ralph Garman, the guy that does Hollywood Babylon with him, he is in there and seemingly is only in there to do those impersonations. His character starts talking like Al Pacino and Arnold Schwarzenegger and things like that. I just think it's another. This movie was another one that was conceived after smoking a few joints and doing a podcast.
Kevin Smith doesn't smoke weed.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I don't think his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter are that bad. I think they could probably find some work. But Kevin might have to.
I'm a bit with you. He seems all right on the podcast, but his movie choices. I mean, really, when did he last make other than Red State?
Yeah, I
Red
enjoyed
State?
Red State. That was half decent flick.
Most of the other ones are just.
I actively avoid his stuff.
And then things like Tusk and this one, I mean, they're just weird.
Well, the next one coming up is supposedly going to be like Jaws, but with a moose. So that's his next. I think Johnny Depp might be back.
Johnny Depp's playing the moose, mate. He's just got some face paint. He'll put some antlers on his head like a dead crow, and away you go.
Anyway, there was a slight uptick after that. I watched Headshot, which was Iko Uwais.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Really good. Like he's just the story and everything. Throw away. It's just you know any old setup to get the job done. But far out, that dude can do an action scene.
Yeah.
He just has some epic fights and like everything's 100 miles an hour. He's just absolutely motoring whenever he's fighting someone. The fists are flying. Like
Yeah, I just added
He's
it to my
unbelievable.
Netflix list.
yeah, it's definitely worth a look. I saw Cars 3 with the kids.
How was it?
It was probably another sort of 7.5, better than Cars 2.
Thank
but
God.
it was actually really interesting to watch because it's kind of got. It's going to sound ridiculous, but it's kind of got a bit of sort of Balboa or Creed to it. Like it's Lightning McQueen discovering that he can't do this shit anymore. So what does he do? Like it's kind of in that way. It's really
deep.
interesting.
Don't they
Yeah,
also pull out Paul Newman's voice again?
yeah. I think he's. Doc Hudson's got a few sort of snippets of flashbacks and
I think
whatever.
they used stuff that he'd already
done, yeah.
when they first did Cars.
But it's actually, as a kids' film, it's like, yeah, the kids will enjoy it. But as that, when you're watching it from that perspective, it's kind of interesting. I enjoyed it. I dug down a little bit deeper again, and I went to the Kickboxer remake.
Oh, right.
It's
How
on Netflix.
was that?
It's on Netflix.
That's on my queue already, mind you. I will be watching it.
Who is it?
It's Batista.
Batista and Van Damme is the master now that trains the young guy. It's Alain Moiso or whatever his name is. Alain, yeah.
Never heard of it.
But he was a stunt. He does a lot of stunt work. Yeah, passable. Like the story was just as stupid as the first one. Like Tong Po still kicks concrete and things like that. And Batista was a good choice, but he's just sort of. He's just sort of there.
He's a big human.
Van Damme's got jokes. Van Damme cracks a couple of gags. They're not good gags, but the funniest part I thought was they redid the sort of training sequence, but Van Damme's now got these these stupid methods like dropping him on a bike underwater, like he's pedaling on a bike while he's underwater and things like that. So I found it kind of retained some of that silliness of the original, and it had a few decent fights, so it was alright if you like a martial arts flick. My biggest problem though was they got Gina Carano's in it, but she doesn't fight.
Why is she there then?
I don't know.
Not for acting.
No.
Considering you told me when Jean-Claude Van Damme came on screen, acting levels went up.
He
I
did.
think that's trouble.
Jean-Claude was having fun. He was hamming it up.
Yeah,
He knows what he knows what he is at this point,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is good.
Still had the high chino kind of.
I was going to say, did he bust out the chinos and the tank top onesie?
I caught a little bit of a movie of his for a few minutes that was on free to air where he was the villain and he didn't like to. He was an eco warrior. He didn't like to eat meat and wear leather and shit. And he's talking about it, and I'm just going, "Oh my god, he has hit rock bottom, the big fella."
Yeah.
But like you say, he's hammy.
Yeah,
and he knows that that's where he lives now.
Yeah, and there's already a sequel to this one, and it's just about finished. So
Keep getting them checks, John Claude.
Look, it wasn't great, but it was you got what you expected. And I mean, you're not going into kickboxer remake going, fuck, they got to live up to the first side. That shit's sacred. All we like that for is that fucking dance sequence. So
Drunk fighting skills.
yeah. Best one I watched this week is I knocked out the first season of Glow that showed up on Netflix.
I saw your message.
It's a
It's the
female
ladies
wrestling. I hear that's
one.
really good.
Awesome, really good. That Mark Maron fella, who's a comedian. I didn't know much about him, but he's a comedian, has a podcast. He was outstanding. He was really good. Alison Bree's excellent. Like the acting was great. I got a bit of a kick out of a couple of wrestler cameos, like real wrestlers that were cameoing in there.
Ric Flair?
There was some footage of Ric Flair.
Nature Boy.
Nature Boy. Was right. Woohoo! It was there.
Everyone loves Ric
Nobody
Flair.
takes a punch in the face like Flair, mate. Sells
Ric
it like
Flair's
you
coming up
wouldn't
on
believe.
Chuck Norris status at this point. I think it's like a
Yeah.
cultural touchstone. He's so good. Okay.
Just don't borrow money from him though. I think he went bust in the money lending front. I don't know who's going to Ric Flair for a loan anyway.
Yeah. I'd rather go to Beyond Bank than Ric Flair Finance.
But yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's like half-hour episodes, so you get through the whole season. I got through it in 2 nights, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's outstanding, really funny. And I started on season 3 of Better Call Saul. So
Oh,
yeah,
so did I.
first episode, good.
I finished.
I've just
I'm
picked up-
really glad that they decided to go with Saul as like the area that they wanted to explore, and then get a bit of Ehrmantraut in there as well. Like it's probably not Breaking Bad level, but it's fucking good TV.
Yeah,
so.
I watched the whole season and completely forgot about it.
There you go.
It is really good though. It just I splurged it and then it was a while ago. So
A bloke from work gave me the first 2 seasons, so I'll have to knock them both out real quick.
yeah, well number 3 is on Netflix now. So
Just get Stan, mate.
Yeah.
Then you
Stan,
can
sorry,
get yoga hoses as well.
I don't want Stan.
Sorry, just quickly, did I talk to you guys about Kubo and the Two Strings yet?
Yeah.
I did?
It's
Okay.
kind of weird. Very, very much
is.
like
Okay,
Coraline.
that's all right. I couldn't remember if I talked to you guys about it or someone
Yeah.
else.
It's a bit like Coraline, I think you said it. I think it's by the same people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That was weird shit.
Yeah.
Coraline.
correct.
That's you, done?
That's me done.
Okay.
Any trauma for you?
No, Trevor, but I went to the do-over.
Okay, was I wrong?
Fucking spot on, mate. I don't think it knew what it wanted to be.
No.
It was all over the joint. And plus, it kept having this, you're thinking early on, well, who is Sandler? Is he...
Is he actually a spy?
But he
Is he just
wasn't.
an idiot?
He was just a fucking idiot.
But who
Once
decided it was
again,
okay to run
he
with?
was just an idiot. It was really frustrating because I think there was.
Let me
actually,
guess. There was a scene where he kind of gets angry and yells at people. Was there something
There was a
like
little
that?
bit of that.
There's everything.
Look, there was a couple of rather amusing scenes, and
There's like 26 different movies in it, mate.
I must
Seriously.
admit, I couldn't stop laughing at the orgy sequence involving Lewis Guzman when he comes
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Snake
Guzman's
Wrangler's hero.
he's probably the best good thing in the movie. I like Guzman. He's
Yeah,
actually
he's a
pretty
good actor. Yeah.
But it just didn't know what it wanted to be. And it actually, honestly, early on, I actually thought this isn't too bad. When they meet up at the reunion and he kind of says he's an FBI agent and all that.
Yeah.
And then
But then it
fakes their
changes.
death.
Yeah.
I thought all that stuff was pretty good. And I thought, gee, Sandler might have hit on something decent here.
Yeah.
Nah.
You didn't
he then
trust me.
decided to screw it over.
You didn't trust me. I told you to stay away.
And it
you
just
fucking
went
did it.
overboard after that.
Yeah. No, it's
I
bad.
watched, rewatched, I think just with my wife, the other guys.
Oh, yeah.
The Will Ferrell one. I don't mind that. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny. Watched a documentary called Counterpunch, which is about boxing.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet.
Not bad. It actually looks into more the
Netflix?
status of boxing at the moment, and looks at 3 separate fighters, all with different agendas
Yep.
in the current day, and then talks to guys like Sugar Ray Leonard and De La Hoya and those guys, and they sort of give their experiences of what it was like for them. It's quite good. It's definitely worth a look.
Yep.
Now, I saw on the horror front Texas Chainsaw.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, I've looked at that too. I haven't seen it yet.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Oh, Coxie, good or bad?
No, look, it wasn't great, but I agree with Adam. I enjoyed some of the ideas about it, and as these movies go, especially Texas Chainsaw, Jesus Christ, you're coming from Next Generation and
Yeah.
the prequels.
Honest
and
to
like-
goodness, if there's one horror series that needs to be taken outside and shot, it's probably the Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is as best as you probably were expecting to get it.
Plus, it's got
It's
Alexandra
not good.
Daddario.
Yes.
I'm
That's
a
the
big
other reason I was
fan.
looking at it.
She looks good. I'll tell you what got me. The first 2 or 3 times we see Leatherface downstairs, scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, he
the
looked
first
good.
one in particular, he comes out of the shadow, because he go downstairs into like a basement
Yeah.
where he's basically been hidden away. The guy goes down there and he's stealing shit. He's a scumbag redneck and he's nicking anything he can get his hands on.
Yeah.
Gets down there and it's sort of bathed in little bits of shadow, and he's looking around and suddenly just out of nowhere, it legitimately got me. And this massive dude just comes out. You can't even see his face properly.
Yeah.
And he just nails him with a with a hammer. And then it does it kind of again. The second time around, got me again. Just really, really well timed boost jump scares.
I think the best thing they did was they went sort of straight out slasher with it.
Yeah.
They didn't try to follow too much of the Texas Chainsaw. They definitely did go Next Generation.
They
with
didn't go
bloody
down the
Illuminati
torture
and
all
nipples
that
and
sort of bullshit route. And I actually thought it wasn't too bad. It ends terribly. It goes to shit by the end, but not that bad.
Yep.
And I would welcome another look at another sequel if that was what they
Well, we're getting the prequel now, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, shit.
The prequel of the prequel.
Oh,
of
the
sequel of
prequel,
the
yeah,
When
yeah.
he's a child.
The prequel's been on the
sorry,
shelf.
Sorry, I've spoken too soon.
So we'll probably get a sequel to one of the older films before we get the prequel to the current one.
And finally, I went to the cinemas and I saw The Mummy.
Ooh.
I haven't heard good things.
It's just
Cruise?
It's just generic. The reason why I think the Brendan Fraser one works better.
Hang on, it works.
Well, to me it worked.
That one was-
because
that was
what it
French.
was,
I like
that. Yeah, it was alright.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And The Mummy.
Yeah, this one looks like it's taking itself too
It
seriously.
is, and they're trying to go horror. And I'm like, this shit it's not horrifying at all.
But see,
it's very,
I
very
think
difficult to get that.
That was what got me in, that they went with horror. But I think my problem is Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, well,
And it
Cruz-
sounds
What
like
is lame?
it sounds like he
Cruz
wreaked
is,
havoc.
Yeah, no, Cruz is not. This is not for him.
I read that
I'm not quite
Hollywood
sure.
Reporter article,
Yeah.
and he had too much power.
I'm not quite sure what got him interested in this. This doesn't sit well with.
Because someone probably
his
told him he
persona.
couldn't do it, and he goes, I can hang off the outside of planes. Here I go.
And it,
So-
it just kind of didn't work. More Rusty Crowe would have worked for me.
Fighting round the world.
I think that this entire thing has fucked up the Dark Universe.
Oh,
Yeah.
but they've already
Dark universe.
photoshopped pictures, mate.
No.
They've got the whole cast photoshopped together.
This is the
they couldn't
problem.
get 5 people in a room together, so they had to photoshop
This is the
it all.
problem with this kind of shit. You do not fucking create a universe and make big fucking predictions and do what they've done. So
Yeah.
they started dribbling on about it months ago when you don't know the quality of the first product. And the
See, 'cause
first product is shit.
What
Yeah.
I heard was Dracula Untold was supposed to be the first
Well,
one.
then you two,
And then that didn't work out.
Two, if that's
Dracula
the case.
Untold.
Yeah, it
was
didn't
really weak.
work out so well. So then this is the universe. But as someone said, like I read online, and one of the comments simply said, "Don't plan 6 movies before you know if we want to watch the fucking first
Yeah,
one."
exactly.
Ask DC.
This may
Exactly.
work.
Although they got it right finally.
Yeah.
This may work for Marvel, but again, it's because Iron Man.
But they
worked.
didn't do it
They
until
didn't do it
Iron
until
Man worked.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Spot
difference.
on. They had it in their minds, but they didn't talk about it until Iron Man was a hit.
Oh, you just reminded me too. I started reading the Suicide Squad novelisation this week,
Oh my god.
and can I just say it's already better than the movie. After a couple of
Another movie I
chapters.
completely forgot that I watched this week.
Because I believe this one, because you know they have to write the novelisations very early.
Yeah.
They get these scripts before they get tampered with and fucked around.
Yeah.
So they're often totally different. And in the first few chapters of the Suicide Squad is dealing with June before she turns into the Enchantress. And I said to Adam, I found out that we're actually supposed to sort of like June and that, but we didn't really care about her until
They tell you
Rick
that in the
Flag
movie.
turned
They're
up.
supposed to say that you're supposed to care about her, but you've only seen her like as the scientist
Yeah.
maybe 3 seconds before she turns into an evil witch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
I just
It
I
was
just
terrible.
Think, I
Fuck,
just
it's a
think
bad
these-
movie.
This creating universes and then trumpeting all this bullshit before the Mummy even came out it's just ridiculous. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's a fucking disaster.
But who
It's as simple
doesn't
as
watch?
that.
Who doesn't watch what's coming in
And go,
look,
"Oh,
just
Jesus,
hold,
what's
just
going
look,
on here?"
just hold back on that fucking group photo that we've
Yeah,
organised with everyone because this is shit.
You know what though? I think I realised why I thought it was okay because I think actually I Frankenstein was supposed to be the first one and it was spectacular.
Get the fuck out of
He
here.
doesn't look at your face and think he's fucking serious. Is he fucking serious?
No, but you know what? You don't hand also a $200 million budgeted movie to a director with one credit.
Yeah.
That guy may be a writer who's written Transformers films which make heaps of money, but he's not a director's backside.
Yeah.
So
I think
why would you give him that kind of cash?
I think I asked you this question during the week,
Yeah.
and you've had some time to mull on it.
Yeah.
Does Tom Cruise ever get superstar money again, or superstar
Nah.
control again?
Cruise was, in my mind, the only time he gets superstar money is Mission Impossible while I
yeah.
continue to make money.
Yeah.
As soon as they lose their luster, there's the superstar dollar's gone. But you know what? It's time for Cruise to go away from this sort of shit and do the type of things. He's got a new one coming out called American Made, which looks a bit like Goodfellas. It's got a Goodfellas vibe, a true story. Get in that lane and get out of this bullshit you're currently in.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is shit. It is. And The Mummy is the lowest ebb of his recent films. And
It
that's
never-
saying
never
something,
felt right.
considering
Yeah.
the last 10 years he spent time punching people and hanging off things. Well, tell me,
Accurate.
answer, tell
True.
me a movie, a guy who...
Oh, look, mate, I've been saying to you for ages, I don't care for Tom Cruise movies anymore. The only one that I cared for recently was
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, and that includes Mission Impossible. I haven't
Yeah,
bothered with the last few of
look.
them. Look, they're up my lane, but I don't. Cruise doesn't get me through the door
No,
anymore.
he doesn't. But what I guess I look at it this way with Cruise.
I'm not going on a cruise with anyone.
I don't love the guy's politics. I'm not interested in his views or anything. As an actor, pre the last 10 years, he could be counted on for solid pictures. Now
Yeah.
he's making shit. He is making crap.
Good news.
Yeah.
Top Gun 2 definitely happening.
Oh,
yeah.
please. Don't you chance of that.
They got him. They got Fat Kilmer locked
Although
in.
he did mention there'd be a
Kilmer won't fit in the
volleyball.
cockpit anymore.
I can already tell you what's going to happen in the movie.
Cruz did mention
There's going to be drones,
Yeah.
and the drones won't work out, and they'll need Tom to come back in and fly like a fucking...
Cruz did mention that there'd be another volleyball scene.
Can you imagine Kilmer's kit now?
Oh, Kilmer needs to drop weight.
He'll look like Wilson from fucking Castaway.
But yeah, I would avoid the Mummy.
Thank you.
Dude, I already was. As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, why is Tom Cruise in this? This doesn't feel right. I was never
still
going.
in. I saw the preview and I was still there. Even I don't love Tom Cruise, but I thought I'll check it out. You know, The Mummy I liked. Add a bit of horror. Yeah, I'm cool with that. And
It's probably
just
going to end up making
turned into a
enough
shit
money
show.
to continue this dark universe. But the fact is, it's underdeveloped. It's half-baked. So why would you continue? Like, these studios just get locked into this idea of, oh, properties, you know, if we got a big property, we can flog the shit out of it. Not if it's no good.
Look, unless Blumhouse is making a universe, I'm not interested at the
Exactly.
moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, Blumhouse will keep money down. They'll fucking won't spend...
Blumhouse is making the Tremors TV show. I'm interested.
That's brilliant.
What about the Baywatch universe, though? That's a definite goer.
Ooh, yeah.
I think I'll skip. But that's me. That's me done. Now, before we get into the film, I just wanted to mention and get your thoughts. Obviously, there'd been problems on the previous Star Wars film, which is Rogue One, that turned out to be
Not a problem.
godsend.
Yeah.
Turned out to be brilliant. Similar reports recently. The two directors behind the Han Solo film, which is Lord and Miller, who made the...
Who've done great work.
Yeah,
previously.
that's really good work. Have recently been fired, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah,
And reports coming out that when it was announced the crew were in rapture, they were applauding and all sorts of business.
Ron Howard has been grafted in to fix it. What are we thinking here? Same trouble? How many times do we get this kind of shit and does it finally go wrong?
Well, firstly, how did you not know that these two were going to make some form of comedy? That's all they have done. How is it like near the end of shooting that you get to the point?
What?
They're trying to make it funny.
Are you not watching the dailies?
Yeah,
That's the thing that sounds weird to me.
Hang on, we've just watched a week's worth of dailies and none of it's the actual script. It's all improv and it's all comedic. Maybe there's a problem. Perhaps we need to go and talk to those guys.
Let's spend $100 million first.
Yeah.
Look, the only thing that gives me hope still is that they seem like they will pony up whatever cash to go and reshoot everything. So it's not like they're trying to salvage something. And I reckon Star Wars has got that much on the go that they could probably do with saying, look, this one's not going to hit the yearly cycle. We're going to delay it 6 months or something like that. And it wouldn't be too much of... Because then we'd get 2 Star Wars movies in 6 months or something like that. Like, I just think...
Because you got the next episode of the actual series on its way.
Because that's the next one, I believe, and then Han Solo was after. Look, I've still got hope that they can salvage it.
Yeah.
But, Jesus, what's going on? Like... I don't know how you get that far into it before you figure out this is an issue.
I'm going to be honest with you. How much money do you reckon they paid Howard? Because quite frankly, wouldn't you be looking at this going...
I don't think he'd be keen.
He would have been no chance, and then they've gone...
They had to back up the
Here's
dump
a
truck.
large amount of cash, and he goes, can I start from scratch?
Look,
yes, you can.
His 1% of the profits would do me.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the positive is that Howard is a Oscar-winning director, years of experience. If anybody can get a better performance out of the bloke, because I believe that was some of the talk, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's an acting coach being hired for Han Solo.
Howard can get a better performance because he's a better director. He's a more experienced director.
He has had some misses recently,
He
though.
has, but
And I actually liked some of them, like...
Rush was really good.
Rush was really good, but In the Heart of the Sea went by with barely a whimper, and I actually watched it, and it was fine. It was pretty good, but... Like, he knows what he's doing. It's just some of his movies lately, just no one's given a shit.
Yeah, but
And
this is
that's
different.
not-
He's now in a
I know, it's
wheelhouse
Star
where he's going
Wars.
to get those
Yeah.
dollars. I guess my thinking is you've given these guys 12 weeks or whatever you gave them to make a comedy, and then you decided that that's not working.
Maybe they released that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I said. I said to Adam, I hope they release the Lord Miller cut. I mean, shit, Spaceballs was all right. Like,
I'm hoping that if they're giving Ron Howard the ability to start over, then I think we could potentially still get a very good film.
yeah, it all depends on that. But then, I mean, Lawrence Kasdan seems to be one of the issues, that he was fuming that they weren't shooting his script. It's still got to be a good script. So if it's not a good script, it's not going to matter.
Yeah,
for
but there's
anything,
no real talk about it not being. Like,
No.
Nobody's saying the script was rubbish, so they were improving. I think what's happened is that they've just gone wrong.
That's just their style.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, how did you not know that?
Come on, Disney.
Are we up or down still on Han Solo?
Can I
Based
be
on
in the
what we've-
middle? Can I be a sideways thumb?
Sideways thumb, yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm in a sideways thumb as well, I think. I just don't know.
I don't think it's finished because, as you said, we've had instances now where the reshoots are okay. So it's not the death knell if they're willing to pony up and basically redo it, which it sounds like they are. So, fuck, I don't know. Middle thumb.
Middle thumb it.
Horizontal thumb.
Horizontal thumb, that's it.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2012's The Cabin in the Woods.
This must be it.
Systems online.
Acquiring targets.
What is going on?
What is this place?
Cabin in the Woods. Rated R. In theaters April 13th.
Cabin in the Woods from 2012, directed by Drew Goddard, who I believe is involved in the Daredevil TV series.
Yeah,
Is
he
that
was. I
correct?
think he was the showrunner for season 1.
He also, I believe, has produced The Martian and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Produced by Joss Whedon, obviously from the Avengers films, and it was written by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon. It stars Chris Hemsworth as Kurt, Jesse Williams as Holden, Anna Hutchison as Jules, Richard Jenkins as Citizen, and Bradley Whitford as Hadley. Budget was $30 million, and it made $70 million worldwide. It was actually delayed
Yeah,
by
quite a bit.
while. I think it might have been shot in 2011 or something, early 2011. Possibly even before that. Sat on the shelf for quite some time. So, basically, the little bit of trivia I've got is it was originally scheduled for release in Australia on the 12th of July 2012, but was pulled in late April. Already incensed by the delayed release, the news of cancelling its cinema run altogether prompted backlash from fans that filled Roadshow's Twitter and Facebook feeds with angry hate mail, which basically got it put back on the schedule.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd be disappointed if you were waiting for it.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, Jared, your thoughts, mate?
Well, I remember seeing this initially and thinking, yeah, it's all right. I enjoyed it. Every time I've watched it since, it's just gotten better and better. I think this was the 4th time I'd watched it. And by now, I think it's actually just compulsory viewing if you're a horror fan, bordering on genre classic. It's funny. The deconstruction of the genre is so good that it makes you want to go back and watch things like Friday the 13th and think about where would Hadley and Citizen be in play here.
Yeah, it
things
does.
like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so clever. The very first time I was watching it and enjoying it, but I didn't really think too much about the ending and stuff, so I didn't like the ending. Since then, I've thought about what the ending is and gone and looked at other people's theories and stuff, and it's made it even better now for me. So I reckon I would probably go to a 4.5 because I just continue to, every time I watch it, I just think it's better. So yeah, I'm way up there.
Gibbo?
Well, that gives me something to look forward to because I've only seen it once. I got you guys' recommendation. I was happy it wasn't something from the 80s that looked like it had a $12 budget, so thanks for that.
So,
Well, Sergeant Kabuki Man next time.
were you waiting for Brighter Reanimate?
Jeez, I didn't know what was coming in. Coxie told me it was, and I'm like, oh, I think I've seen it on Netflix. And I like Hemsworth and a lot of his stuff, so I wanted to check it out anyway. And then when I watched it, yeah, just didn't expect what it was. It's super duper clever, like really satirical, very, very smart, and really well done. I think what they're trying to do, I think they do pretty well perfectly. And there isn't really many negatives, to be honest. This isn't really my kettle of fish, the whole horror gig, but this one is so clever and fun to watch. I think it does a perfect job of being not really scary, but it's slashery while being satirical and funny and just all those different things all at once. So yeah, I'm probably with Jared. I'll probably go with 4.5 as well.
There you go. We finally got one.
Yeah.
You finally tried.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
fucking
that's
jerks.
true.
On the money. I cannot disagree with any of what you said. It's definitely 4.5. I was verging on 5. I mean, it's hard to call this a horror film,
Yeah.
honestly, to call it a horror
It
film.
is.
But it
It's
sits
in there by
that
default.
genre. It sits in the genre. And to me, it's the best horror film since Scream, probably, if you're going to put it there. And it's in the same sort of vein that it's taking an established style and just pulling it to shreds.
It's like the next step.
Yeah.
Scream made fun of it within its confines, and then this one said,
It
"Well, how
goes
about this?"
outside.
You know?
It's a really, really great film, and I think it's definitely, anybody who hasn't seen it has to check it out. And it's very sad, in my mind, that a movie like this couldn't make big money.
Well, who
This is
watches this? Who in a studio watches this and thinks, "Fuck, we've got to pull this from the schedule"?
Yeah.
Like,
The bottom line is, this is what's missing from today's film.
Yeah, there's nothing even remotely like it.
I mean,
Not
we
anywhere.
just get the trotted out stuff that's, the latest Transformers sequel is exactly the same,
Yeah.
but it'll make billions. So all they care about is the billions of dollars rather than the quality, and this is top quality.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those
Within an
ones
inch
that
of its life, it's superb.
I think this is one of those ones that if it was in the 90s or whatever, it would have been the one that had the life on video, you know. If it didn't get a cinema release, everyone would have found it on video and gone, "This is fucking awesome."
Yeah.
All right, likes, gentlemen.
Opening, straight away, you're immediately thinking, "What is this?" You know, they're
I
on
thought
the-
I was watching the wrong shit. I'm like, did I click the wrong button? What the hell is going on? It felt a bit like an
Also, I
Austin Powers, like a
When they're driving
evil
in
lair.
the-
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
It was like a
talking
little
about
cut.
They're talking about what's going on at home and stuff. Like,
To go back even further, the basic premise and the idea of taking that formula that you talked about and just totally doing something most of us wouldn't have even thought of,
yeah,
to look at it that way.
they just
Pure
deconstruct all the
ingenious.
elements.
It's just so smart.
Yeah,
The movie opens. You've got here. You get your DVD cover, and it tells you it's the horror genre, and you immediately open with two guys in black, white button shirts, crapping on about their day, and all I'm thinking is, what the fuck's going on here?
yeah, it's classic Joss Whedon, because I can't remember exactly, but I think Whedon and Goddard wrote it together.
They did,
co-wrote it, and Whedon's always been that subversive kind of, take this in a direction that you don't expect, or different to what would be the norm, and make fun of all that. So, but even still, I was just like, I don't know what this is. When I first watched it, I'm like, what was that? And then we get into them, the teenagers.
Yeah, it feels like a different movie.
And the whole time you're watching the teenagers, from that point, you're thinking, what is it? Until you there's just this mystery element to it, until they start filling in the pieces and pieces. But that opening just got you straight away. Like, the way they did it too, it didn't take itself overly seriously.
No.
It was just these two dickheads crapping on about their weekend, but it got you sitting there going,
What's going
where
on?
are they? Who are they? Like, you're just immediately asking yourself those questions. Yeah.
But also, there's the funny thing about those opening two sequences, really, because you start at the office environment, then you go to the teens. But when they pull out in their camper, it pans up to the roof of the thing,
Yeah,
and
there's
there's a
someone
guy in a jumpsuit, and he goes,
Yeah.
they're on the move. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Birds have left the nest or whatever.
Yeah.
to me, that's something out of a CIA thriller.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, where does that fit into?
Yeah.
all
And it was just like they went straight from that opening sequence to the teens. You got all that, that background. That was another like for me in itself, that they laid out the tropes, but then they fleshed them out a touch. Like Hemsworth's the football player, you think, oh, the big dumb dickhead. Then he pulls out the books and starts going, oh, Professor, what's his name? Going to cover all that in the lectures. Do this one. He'll think you're insightful. And you're
Yeah, what I loved about
okay,
that,
so
though?
now the smart guys, and now the jock's smart. And then the egghead is also best hands in the state football. Like,
Yeah.
so you can see they're playing with it. And then as you said, we're back to the
what seems like something else.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What I also love about that sequence is that Hemsworth sees the textbooks, he looks up at her and he goes, "Who told you about these?" She's like, "I learned it from you."
Yeah, Hemsworth was perfect for that type of role.
The coffee cup bong. Piss.
I want to know if you can buy them. That is a brilliant product. He's like, you can't have any car. He's coffee cup. So good, mate.
That guy is awesome too.
Yeah,
the stoner. Again, subversive. Like the stoner is the voice of reason through the whole fucking movie. It works really well. Like he gives a pretty solid performance. The whole lot of them give great performances. Personally, Hadley and Citizen are just
Piss funny.
Richard
they are the
Jenkins is
best
the best.
combo.
He is so good.
The pair of them together is just perfect.
Yeah.
Like they kind of you buy them as these kind of mundane day to day dickheads on the job, but also they're just so damn funny together and
Yeah.
both such good actors. Like
That other guy's such a good shit weasel too.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a better like sleazy bastard in cinema than that bloke?
Yeah.
Like just
I
as soon as you
also-
see him, you hate him.
I also love the Crazy Ralph guy.
Yeah.
At the station.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
good, thing about, the good thing about that though, they actually legitimately play it for Menace in the first time we see him.
Yeah, because he's a good
Legitimately
jump
play for
scare. Yeah.
Menace. There's a jump scare. Then he starts talking about that fucking whore over there.
Yeah, he's spitting
starts
tobacco
spitting
at
on the
him.
ground. But then he comes back into it later. And
The prank calling him. Come on, speaker. No, I'll turn that off. I'm still on speaker.
He keeps talking about the rapture and all this.
that
and they
scene-
just pissing themselves laughing.
that scene was so funny when he's on the speakerphone. Oh, sorry, and then gets him going again. But you kind of raised something else that I noticed is that those scenes where they play it straight and then sort of deconstruct them later, the scenes where they play it straight actually hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
As like horror movie scenes.
Yeah.
Like, as a soothsayer, he was fucking good.
Yeah.
When he, as you said, he starts doing that antagonistic shit, and then the stoner has a bit of gets a laugh out of talking shit back to him,
Yeah.
but he's legitimately it's classic Crazy Ralph shit that he's pulling.
Yeah, he's way better though.
But in a scary, in a sort of scary
I think what I
fashion.
also love about the phone calls with the speakerphone is when he first rings, they go, Mordecai's online one, and Citizen or whatever, or Hadley goes, take a message.
Yeah, that was very, very funny.
I wonder how they do the casting call for those crazy bastards. Like, we want someone that looks like they're pretty malnourished, crazy as shit, have had a hard life,
Yeah, happy to chew tobacco and spit it menacingly.
and call young ladies whores. And he's like, that sounds like me. Like, it's like casting the fat chick in one of those like frat boy movies. It's like, who signs up and goes, yeah, I'll have that poked at me. Yeah.
Who's going, sounds like a character piece.
How many dollars? Yeah.
I reckon one of the best parts of the movie is when we get down to bringing up the betting board about what's going to come to life. I reckon that was absolutely hilarious when they're talking about an old mate Cripps crapping on about mermen.
Merman. That's right. He keeps it when someone puts a bet on and he snickers and he's like, yeah, whatever, merman. That shit was piss funny. And the other thing too is, as a kind of an extra like on that was the Joss Whedon cameos, like the people from Whedon's got a habit of using people that he's used before. So like the girl that is talking to them at the start is someone from Angel, but the intern is Tom Lenk, who had like a minor role on Buffy, but he is piss funny, and the intern is just perfectly suited to him. That bit where they go, whoever's won it, and they're splitting it with the intern, and he's there going, woohoo! Cracks me up. And where they're talking about, do we get overtime for this? I'm an intern, so I don't get paid. He's just piss funny. That whole board was
I also
awesome.
love when they finally get a winner and that chick's standing next to Richard Jenkins going, but I had zombies as well. So, yes, you had zombies, but this is redneck zombie family. And then he goes, it's like the difference between an elephant and an elephant seal.
So good. I actually really like the explanations of how the characters go stupid as well, like how they're pumping in pheromones and the hair dye is affecting the cognitive function of the girl,
and the fact that they constantly involve themselves in the setup. So every time something happens, like when Hemsworth and his missus go outside to have a bit of a romp down by the lake, they turn the moonlight on. So
Yeah, the pheromone mist and the little spotlight. Yeah.
It's just like
Turn up the temperature in the area.
Yeah.
It's kind of exactly what I was saying about how, like, you could go back and watch a Friday the 13th and just look
wonder
at each
where these
scene
guys
and
were
say, oh,
involved.
yeah, that's where they're pumping in pheromones.
And
that's where
the sequence where Hemsworth runs back into the cabin, barricades the door, starts talking about we've got a plan and everything like that, and then he walks away and the mist
Pump the
goes.
gas.
Yeah, because he
and
says we all need to stay together, and he goes, actually, we should split up.
we'll cover more ground. The stoner's like, what? No! As soon as they're there, the egghead, he's like, yeah, good idea. The stoner's like, what? No.
The number of homages to horror films. I think that's
it's
part of what I
genius.
loved about
Especially
it.
with the creatures and stuff as
So
well.
many things in that. Down in the basement when they first go down
menagerie,
there,
yeah.
they go down.
Before they even get to
when
that.
they get to there, when they're down in the basement
the
of the actual
knickknacks.
cabin with all the knickknacks.
Even before that, on the screens where they're watching the other places, the Japanese cruise,
Is
the Japanese monster getting beaten by the little schoolgirls.
Yeah, doing a seance or whatever.
Piss funny.
I
Yeah.
love the fact that Hadley is blowing up
Yeah,
the lights and
that
everything.
scene's
Rick's
perfect.
got there and beat a little girl.
Because you watch it and you kind of, you're getting, the Ring, the Grudge kind of vibes, and then he's there going, fuck you! That was brilliant. So good.
But there's so many of them, like the Book of the Dead kind of makes an
Yeah,
appearance.
yep.
The puzzle box from Hellraiser, it's kind of that
The
same
hand
thing.
as well from Evil
Yeah.
Dead, like the hand that's doing it. Pinhead.
Pinhead sort of is in briefly, and
It.
it's kind of like
You get the clown, you get the kids. Like I think there's people on the internet that have gone through like that where they
pull back
and show all the boxes.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's all sorts of shit in there. I think there was monsters from a particular video game. I can't remember what it was. Maybe Left 4 Dead or something like that. You see the twins that kind of evokes like The Shining.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many in there. It's just insane.
Yeah, they've really done a great job, and it just showcases that there's a passion, like there's a real passion.
Yeah, they know what they're doing and where it's coming from,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, you guys have pretty much covered off my list, to be honest. Like the likes, like it's all in one big umbrella.
You need to just get in there and fucking cut us off, mate.
No,
You too.
because it's all just along for the ride. But I was looking at my list and I'm like, we've kind of gone over most of it already. Like,
I've still got a couple,
Next episode, we're going to get a shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's what we'll
Yeah,
get.
I also love the fact that down in the basement when they're all playing with all that shit, the only guy who's going, let's go, I dare you to go back upstairs. Only guy.
like, who reads that thing out though? Like, it's like clearly something starts happening, or did anyone else not hear the voices that he was hearing?
Yeah. I
Is that
don't.
what-
Well, that's
the
one of the ones I didn't really get.
And he's like, we shouldn't read it.
But
read it.
it was another, again, Hadley and Citizen at their finest when they like everyone's got something. Like Hemsworth's got the thing from like Hellraiser or their homage to Hellraiser. They've got like the book. They've got
Ballerina.
and Hadley's there going. He had the conch in his hand. I just burst out laughing again. The whole fucking
How good is the
mermaid.
bit at the end when the fucking mermaid is like, God damn it! Because it's just his ugly, big, slimy freak thing. It's not
The
even a
way
real
they-
merman.
It's kind of like telegraphed the whole way, but again, so funny and so smart that you kind of. We've mentioned it before about how you don't mention things or put them on screen that much unless they're going to come back into play.
Yeah.
But I was just so caught up in the whole thing that when the merman hit, I was like, oh, yeah.
That was
I
the
didn't
right way
see
to do it,
that
because you
coming.
actually needed him to turn up.
Yeah.
You wanted him to do it. It wasn't like, oh,
So
God,
good.
really? It was
Yeah.
the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, that stuff is just. It is just so. There's such a love for this sort of stuff. They seem to be so keen on it.
Yeah, you can tell
They
it's made
take
by
the
people
time.
who like it, but also are aware of how stupid it gets sometimes.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when Hemsworth made the bike jump and he
And then slapped it in the wall. Man, I thought, oh, he's going to make it. This is good, but he'll get killed on the other side or something. And then, nah, he just got butt zapped.
After he's done that speech and he's there going, oh, if I crash, I'll still get up and,
Crawl for help.
Crawl for help. And we're bringing tanks. And then you're thinking, oh, yeah, something's going to happen. He might get there or whatever. And then he just, bang. It reminded me of that, it reminded me of In Two Hands where the kid gets hit by the car.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's such a shock that all you can do is laugh at it. Like,
The only thing for me, and this is the only dislike I have, is that, it's not really a dislike because they telegraphed that particular thing earlier on
With the bird.
With the bird.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I and I know why they did it, and I was fine with it, but I think they could have removed it, and you would have got an even bigger jolt with Hemsworth. Because when it happened,
Yeah.
I just kind of went, oh, yeah, we'd already seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd be going, what the hell? Like you'd
But
be
even when the bird happened, it was just a continuation of this. They kept taking you back into the horror movie elements.
Yeah.
And the bird was kind of like, again, just this little jolt of, oh, fuck, where are we again? What's happening?
But I still think they'd done a good enough job anyway, with all that stuff in the lead up,
Yeah.
that you probably could have just snipped that. That was only like 5 seconds. You could have snipped it, and I think you would have really hit the Hemsworth death even better. I still think it works. I still think the Hemsworth thing works anyway.
Yeah.
Just because you kind of, like you kind of forget about the bird.
Yeah.
Because it's moving at a nice clip, and it's
You're right,
probably
because
40 or
they
50
had-
minutes later when
Yeah.
Hemsworth does it.
It's not that you forget about it. Like, I didn't necessarily forget about it. And they explicitly stated that's the one way in, you know,
Yeah.
when they're talking about the rock crash and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, you're right. Like, you kind of, in a way, you sort of sensed something was going to happen, but...
Well, I guess
it's still the moment with Hemsworth was still super effective.
yeah, it's effective, but what I mean is when it happened, that I was jolted back to the bird.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, okay, the bird. If the bird had never happened,
You'd
I
just
think
be
I
like,
would have
holy
got the
shit, what?
jolt
Yeah.
even more, because
Yeah.
even though I know what's going on by now, something weird
Yeah.
is happening.
They probably could have
It
found
just
that
would have
other
been
moment.
such an out of left field sort of thing, because just like you say, he pops up with his massive speech about how he's going to do this and that and the other, and then he just drives into a fucking electric fence and goes down into a ravine.
The way that they show it to, the way that they use the special effects to show his body just fucking crumple and start
Mangled.
flopping around.
And then it just ragdoll physics all the way down that wall, all the way
so
into the
funny.
ravine.
You're right, though, because I think what they needed was one of those moments to pull you back and remind you that, oh, shit, someone's got something going on here that we don't know about. If they had, they probably could have found another way to do that,
Yes.
as you said.
That didn't telegraph.
It didn't
what was gonna
telegraph the
happen.
force field kind of aspect of it.
For some reason, I just laughed at this when the girl's being attacked by the redneck family down by the lake, and she's supposed to be the final death. And it pulls back from the television screen, and the fucking party
Those
sets
stupid
off.
songs playing.
It's a great time. She's getting murdered on screen, and they're just having a great old party.
Yeah, there has to be something wrong with all those people that work there. Like, you've got to get to a pretty dark place to go through with that. So, just quickly, because you guys have seen a lot more than I have, is this a TV event that they're doing as well? Like, is this televised, or is it just for the like to appease the gods?
I think it's
Well,
just to appease
okay.
the god.
Well, to go with the
Because I was getting a
ending-
little bit of like a fucking, like it's a little bit of a Big Brother sort of setup where
Yeah.
they're going for ratings and
So-
stuff. But
What I got is initially when I first saw the ending with the hand coming out, I didn't like it. But what it supposedly, from what I've read and what I've pieced together, it is the gods are us, the audience watching a horror flick, and they make comments like, the sun's coming up in 8 minutes, which means, the movie's ending and the lights are coming on in the theatre. The thing that I actually missed the first time is that Sigourney Weaver is flat out called the director.
Yeah.
They talk about, upstairs and whatever, and that where they're working is essentially like a metaphor for like a film crew. They keep talking about, the gods aren't going to be happy and all this sort of shit, and it's essentially talking about if we don't hit all these tropes and we don't spill the blood of this guy, that guy, this guy, then they're not going to watch our movie. They're talking about, they're not going to be happy, and they kind of, there's references to they're going to be raging, which is like, people, the way people piss and moan online about
Twitter,
movies
yeah.
these days. So that's kind of what I get from it.
yeah, I just couldn't tell if it was like a TV show that they were it was like a televised thing and they were trying to get ratings as well as, appeasing the god situation that they had to sort of deal with.
Yeah, what I got from that is that it's just them that are
They
sort
just
of
use the cameras
controlling
just
it,
to
and
monitor
they're the
it, yeah.
ones that are aware of the gods and all that. Because when you get the kids and that, they don't seem to be aware of any of this shit.
That's
so
true,
it's
yeah.
sort of like
If it
these
was out in
guys
the
are-
world, everyone would sort of know about it.
Yeah, so that's where I, like, as I said, the first time I saw it, I just thought the ending left me a bit cold. But then when I watched it and picked up on all those, watched it again, read what other people thought of it, and picked up on all that sort of shit, I was like, that's just fucking genius.
This is one of those movies though you could have like 26 different theories and all of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
could
There's
be-
heaps and heaps of different ways that people have taken it, but that's the one that hits for me. I
Yeah.
reckon.
It makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
they're
well,
talking
they
about the classic tropes of the whore dies first and this
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. It's kind of what you'd get in most slasher flicks is exactly how they would play it out.
And I mean, there's lines throughout the whole thing that are like some of the lines that I wrote down that were about kind of reinforce that theory that the gods are the audience and all that sort of shit. They're talking about what's down below, and they're like, "Oh, the monsters are nothing compared to them." When you kind of incur the wrath of an audience that doesn't like your movie, when the final girl and the stoner make that the end bit, they're talking about how they didn't just want to see us die, they wanted to see us punished.
Yeah.
Which is a comment on like how horror movies are moral tales and all that sort of shit. And the director says it's different in every culture and it's changed over time and what the gods want and all this sort of stuff. So it's all there.
It's deep. It's super deep.
Yeah, and as I
Considering it's a
said,
film
the
that's-
fucking dullard that I am, I watched it the first time and missed all of that shit
Yeah.
towards the end. Like I was just going, oh, they had this really cool thing going about these guys downstairs, and then they had these gods, and I didn't like that. And then I actually had to think about it.
my final... I've got two final likes. I'd love to see a unicorn impaling a bloke.
Oh, yeah, you never really think of a unicorn as like a
Nailed him.
nightmare creature, but he fucked him up.
Double tap too.
Yeah.
He goes in one, then comes back in for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was a homage to, but then I thought maybe it's just how all of us seem to have one of those kids movies that fucking scare the shit out of us when we were kids. Maybe that's what it was. Like The Dark Crystal for me, I couldn't watch that shit when I was about.
Well, that's not really
5 or
a
6.
kids' movie so much either. It's pretty creepy shit.
The Labyrinth was another
It was
one.
PG.
Yeah, shouldn't have been.
Labyrinth
Back
was
at it.
one that sort of scared me.
It reminded
Bowie-
me of the horse in the
Bowie
Never Ending
with the
Story.
bow.
Yeah.
Because that was
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
Never Ending Story. Some things in the Never Ending Story scared some people. So as soon as I saw the unicorn, that's what I thought of. But
And my last like is a nice little cameo from Sigourney Weaver at the end.
yeah,
Just kind of
good call.
yeah,
Perfect casting for
Perfect
that sort of thing.
casting.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Given that
someone we
she,
know of.
As a final girl herself, like
Yeah.
if you take Alien as a horror,
Yep.
she's a final girl. Like
It just works nicely back into it. And I just thought it was all round excellent.
very good.
Any dislikes? I voiced my only one.
I only really had one.
Two. You go first, mate.
I'll go first, okay. My only issue with it, and it's the only thing that, as I was watching the movie, just sort of jumped out and went, that doesn't feel right, was the Stoner's revelation about they're controlling us. Like, it just seemed to come from nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
I get
It
that
was
he...
there from the get go. He was already talking about
Yeah,
that
like,
shit.
I get that the weed, like, made him impervious to their controls and stuff like that, but for him to go from just being a kid going camping to going, someone's the puppet master and they're pulling the strings, it felt very strange. It's like they cut out a bit that they'd missed in between or something, that where he might have sort of started edging towards it. And
The
it
other
just
bit
felt
with
really
him-
jolty. Other than that, I didn't really have anything else.
The other bit with him too was like they're talking about whatever he's smoking. As far as I know, he was just smoking run of the mill weed, which is what kids have done in every old horror movie we've ever seen, but it hasn't
Yeah,
made
so
anyone else impervious.
That also
Kind of didn't
seems
fit.
strange, but
But I sort of ran with that. One of my dislikes was him as well. I really liked the character and I really liked his performance, but I don't know about the voice that he was putting on. Like it seemed like he was overdoing the kind of, oh, I'm really high, and I'm set like that voice the whole way through. I was kind of like, he's just overdoing it a touch there.
yeah.
And the other one was for a movie that had the money that it did and did the practical effects really well. There was a couple of the CGI ones towards the end that just
Yeah, that aren't as good.
a little bit off, like the big snake
Yeah.
thing. That
The big snake was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
they probably could have left that out completely. Wouldn't have made any difference to that scene, but it would have just taken
I
away.
do
Would
love
have taken away a couple of seconds of that looks a
I
bit
do
shoddy.
love that sequence where they just rip the SWAT team to shreds. The
Yeah,
monsters just get loose and just tear them apart.
It's just a
And
bloodbath.
there's just guts and gore everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah, that scene was just unbelievable. So that was kind of the only part of it. I was just like, yeah, that one doesn't really work. But yeah,
Any other dislikes?
that's
Nah.
it for me.
No. I enjoyed it too much.
Top notch.
Yeah, very, very good film.
Thanks, finally, guys.
You are welcome. If you're looking to contact us, send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook, Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Next episode, Sergeant Kabuki Man. Then Sergeant Kabuki Man. Is there a sequel?
Troma Week, anybody? Or-
Could we
No.
do Troma Month?
You guys can. I'll
You know
see
what?
you too.
Funnily enough, Sergeant Kabuki Man has become a bit of a mascot for them. So you got Toxie, who's like the mascot, but then Sergeant Kabuki Man's always been in these
Secondary
little,
mascot.
hosting like these little 5-minute clips and things like that. And there's been talk of Sergeant Kabuki Man LAPD. So we might get a sequel sometime. We can only hope.
No, we haven't come to
There's
our...
no way that'd get over the line these days. No one could go, he's a kabuki and he's a man and he's a cop.
You know what one of his more recent appearances was? In that Moby film clip. We're All Made of Stars or whatever, where he had all the cameos. Sergeant Kabuki Man was in there.
Wow. Pop culture gold.
We haven't decided upon next episode, but keep an eye on Facebook and we will let everyone know. But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at